Hail.
Howdy.
Hail. Howdy. Hello. How are you doing, sir?
Well, pretty good. Getting over the sting of defeat of the nation.
Yes, World War III was won with one shot.
Well, one shot and one absolutely worthless Austin Matthews.
Oh man, that man just can't win a big game to save himself. In fact, can't even appear. Where was he?
Where he was going to the corner when he was supposed to be covering McDavid directly in front of the net.
Yeah.
And left McDavid, Connor McDavid, let's leave him wide open in front of the net by himself.
That's right, yeah.
To go double team somebody in the corner in overtime. Crazy.
Yeah, maybe they had a gentleman's agreement. I don't know. Neither of them are gentlemen, so that can't be the case.
Hey, there's Andy Masterson.
Hey, Andy. How are you, mate? Good to see you, Andy. Good to see everybody after our little break. Smokey, Tim, Lex Ludendi.
You guys will have to tell me in the chat, does this new lighting look weird? Because I tried to get a light that kept it from having a full shadow over my face when I wear a hat. But it feels like I'm being lit up from below, like you just holding a flashlight down here.
I don't know, that grey strip on your beard, I don't know why, it just makes you look like an old lesbian.
It's not a strip anymore. I'm pretty sure we're now pretty much at the point of it is all gray.
Well, I'm white now.
3 years ago when I started, it was just the strip down the middle, but
yep.
Time on YouTube will apparently age you.
Lighting is an issue. That's why I don't bother. I just switch the basement lights on.
Well, the garage is hard to light correctly.
Well, true. You're in the garage. But also a good evening to Crimlon, Mike DiCarlo, Tim, we mentioned, and anyone else who's here. Good evening to you all. Good to see you all. Yes, as Tim is mentioning, 45 years since the Miracle on Ice. Might have a little clip of that later.
Yep.
No Kurt Russell in it, though. It's the actual clip of the actual game, which...
The actual...
The movie.
We've seen enough of Kurt Russell this week.
Yeah, wasn't that a movie? Yes, why? What's Kurt been doing?
That commercial from Miracle every few minutes on the Four Nations stuff.
Sorry, yes, of course.
The speech from the movie, instead of the real speech, just using Kurt Russell's version.
That's right. Because people 1,000 years from now will find that and believe he actually was the coach.
Yeah, he beat the Russians by himself.
Yeah, well, maybe 1,000 years, maybe 100 years. They go, yes, this man who used to make, he killed aliens, and he was a hockey coach.
Yeah,
we have documentary evidence.
And a super spy.
The super spy. Yeah. So, yes, indeed. Well, it was quite the masterstroke by the NHL, and now I'm beginning to appreciate what a cunning stunt that the NHL, that Bettman is. Bettman's a real cunning stunt, I think. How did he know when he set this up that it was going to be so contentious at this time, and therefore cause so much marketing buzz and people to watch who normally don't give a shit about hockey?
Well, typically the international exhibitions have always been, a bit on the crazy side. The players, the thing with hockey is, the thing that they harped on the whole tournament, and it's true because you see it on, on the teams as well. You play for the logo in front, not the name on the back.
Yep.
And when that logo is your country, they're not going at, any percentage except for 100%.
Oh,
So,
absolutely, absolutely.
and the fact that they were under NHL rules instead of IIHL rules just made it even better because then you could actually have the big hits. You had it on what we're used to for an NHL size of ice rink rather than the Olympic sheet.
Yes, yeah.
So, I mean, normally when you get the internationals, it's going to be on the Olympic sheet, which is
Mm,
a lot more wide open and it leads to, more space, less hitting, and of course the rules kind of prohibit the fighting.
yeah,
So this worked out great. I don't want to
it
see it
did.
every year though. I think that would be a fatal
But you,
mistake for the
but you know,
NHL.
but you know what the NHL's like. And Batman,
I
it'll be,
know,
oh wow, what a success! We're going to milk that one now.
but they already have the World Cup and they've got the Olympics. So they need to figure out a rotation, but it can't be you're not
Every
going to get
year.
the same thing every time if you do it on a yearly basis or
Yeah.
every other year even. So,
And I must admit, I was a bit, I was skeptical. I thought, oh yeah, I mean, not that I like the All Star stuff. I mean, it was a curiosity occasionally, but um, skeptical. I thought, yeah, it'll be just, very gentlemanly and what. No, they went for it. They
yeah, I mean,
absolutely
we
went
didn't
for it.
quite know what to expect because me and you haven't I mean, I was watching 10 years ago, but didn't really watch
Mm,
the international stuff. I was watching the Avs. So I didn't really care about the international stuff. But I mean, seems to me that those who have followed hockey for long enough to see the old international exhibitions, they kind of knew what was coming, and the players knew
mm.
what was coming, obviously. So I think we deceived ourselves a little bit, but
We
it was a
did.
fantastic tournament.
It was. It was a real masterstroke by the NHL. They must be rubbing their hands in glee. Go, how did we get that timing so right? This was
Right.
just perfect. I mean, it would have been good anyway, but that extra layer on top of the Canada America Third World War situation that seems everybody seems to think
Yeah,
that
that
they're
that
in.
worked out well timing
It's
wise
just
because
like
without that, I don't think it would have been as heated.
no,
I mean, it still would have been great hockey, but I don't think it would have been as heated,
no,
at least from the fan perspective. I don't think the players really gave a crap all that much, but
no.
they may have cared about the booing a little bit. But um, you
Well,
know what I'd
actually, just
like to see? I'd like to see them do a rotation of the four nations year off, Olympics year off, and then World Cup year off, then back to the four nations and year off. And during all of those years, instead of doing like an all-star game on the off years, I would
mm,
like to see them name the all-stars, but I want to see the all-stars like opening up draft day with the skills competition. So you get all your big names out there to
that's a
I'd
good
say do it
idea.
in
Yeah,
Vegas every single year. Just have it in Vegas where you can have it a convention center for the draft and a sheet of ice to do the skills competition
yeah,
on. So it
perfect.
gives
Yeah.
people a reason to give a crap about the actual draft. And don't do I mean you could still do like a bye week where um the All-Star game would have been, but we know the All-Star game is just a waste of time. I still want to see who gets voted onto the All-Star team, but I don't see a reason to have the All-Star game. But then every
Mm,
other year you have an international competition, whether it be the Olympics, the Four
yeah.
Nations, or the World Cup.
No, that sounds good. I like your idea, and I'd have no problem with that being in Vegas every time. And yeah, let's G the draft up with something because I mean it's pretty dry a lot of the drafts, and why not
Yeah.
have something around it that would cause some buzz? Hell, I mean you could be getting fans involved in some way, taking part in certain parts of it, whatever. There's all sorts of stuff could be done to jazz that up a bit. I mean, I've been to a
Hmm.
draft live in Dallas, and it was pretty dry. Although I got hammered, so who cares? So,
Yeah. Just
you
watching
know,
people march up there and then
that's
tell
right.
a 20-minute story before saying, and we select. I
Yeah,
mean, I don't need to hear everything about every team or every player,
no. Yeah.
you know, the whole way through. So,
I think they could have something like maybe every random draft pick, the stage opens up underneath, and they all drop down into a
that'd be
pit.
nice.
just randomly though, so you never know
Only
when
if
it's
it's
going to happen.
randomly Vegas.
You never know quite when it's going to happen.
Have they put Shea Theodore on the LTIR yet?
I didn't notice that. No, I think he's actually maybe playing tonight. I don't know. I don't know. I haven't
Oh, he
looked.
was supposed to be week to week. I doubt he's
No,
back
he's
in.
not playing. No, right. You're right. It's one each in that game right now. But yeah, well done to the NHL. And I think what it showed a lot of people who never watch hockey or pay attention to hockey, and by God, we've seen that with even Ryan Cannell talking about it. And we've tried. Tell everybody out there, Bram and I have tried to get him pay attention to hockey so we could get on Sports Wars. Not interested.
I don't even
Wasn't
need to be on
interested.
Sports Wars. I would just like to see hockey covered.
But yeah, so finally, people like him went, "Oh wow, this is something," and it showed that hockey, like, unlike it showed the absolute poverty of the basketball side of things.
Oh yeah, the NBA All-Star game where
I've got a sore
even
toe.
yeah. But even the announcers saying, "Why are you people watching this? Go watch the hockey game."
That's right. That's right. It showed that a sport with actual heart and commitment and some balls, and it showed these other sports up a lot. I think, particularly basketball was brutally exposed.
Yeah, since it goes head to head with hockey every season.
Yeah, brutally exposed. So
It'd be
well done
nice
to
to
hockey.
climb out of the 4th spot and kick the NBA on down to the 4th spot there.
Yeah. So go hockey. Absolutely. It was good. So well done. We will show a few. I mean, it had the greatest 9 seconds in hockey history, possibly. I don't know.
True.
Or
Greatest minute 30, 9 seconds.
yeah. Greatest opening to any game ever, possibly, with 9 seconds in and it's chaos.
The only thing I could have asked for differently would have been a full line brawl, including the goalies. That would have been fantastic.
They should have figured that out, shouldn't they?
Yeah.
I'd love to have seen Hellebuck put shove Bennington's crap in there.
Yeah.
That would have been nice. But anyway.
I think everybody knows how we feel about Bennington.
Indeed. Well, we'll show that. We're going to be showing that. You've got the full thing, I think, haven't you?
I've got the minute 37 or minute 57 just sped up to show just the fights and then speed, to the next whistle.
It's well worth watching, and we will watch it. We'll be showing some clips of that later. I think there was even some goals in the competition, though.
Not many.
Was there? Nah, who cares?
There's a few. Mostly against the Finns.
Yeah, that's true. I've got the Finns winning against the Swedes. I've got Mikael Granlund's goal, but it was nice to see McDavid getting wiped out a few times.
Yeah. And that was the only real complaint about the whole tournament for me is that McDavid is who scored the final goal, because then we get to hear about McDavid for the next I don't know how many years about how he's the greatest thing that's ever walked the planet.
Indeed. But his team did lose today. So
yeah,
there's no carryover from the competition. They lost in spectacular style.
Yeah, and speaking of carryover, I mean, how bad do you feel for Sidney Crosby going back to the Penguins after participating in that? Because he goes back and they just suck.
Can we just actually, though, say that the Washington Capitals scored 8 goals, not 1 point for Ovechkin, not 1 point, never mind a goal in that game.
And I think it was 2-2 at the end of the second, wasn't it? So they scored 6 in the third to get to the 8.
A couple of wacky scores today, but 8 goals, not 1 point for Ovi. I mean, it's just like, I looked at the score and I went, oh, well, he's got a hat trick. He must have a hat trick in this game. Or
you'd think.
Nothing. So, but we need to get to the subject, of course, which is what are we drinking tonight?
What are you having? I'm going to crack open something I've never had before.
Well, I'm actually in a show of vague patriotism towards my adopted country. I'm having the Wayne Gretzky tonight.
Gross.
So, I can't say I was going, woo, yay, we won. But, just for some, I mean, I am Canadian. That's a Canadian citizen. So I'll have the Gretzky. Well, they threw me out of America. So.
Yep, we do that with illegals.
I had a visa. And a MasterCard. So what are you? You've never. This is something you said you've never opened before.
Never had before. I just found it tonight. So apparently, Redwood Empire is got a brand new bottling of the Pipe Dream.
Ooh,
So it is Pipe Dream, but bottled at 101 proof instead of the typical 90 proof.
Holy moly.
So, I mean, they just keep doing different variations on the same 3 bourbons, but like they've done one that's full proof. Now this is 101 proof, and I always like proof over, the base proof. I like higher proofs, so I'm anticipating this is going to be very good. And that was a hell of a pour for.
It was. Well, we're gonna wait until you've had some. So I want to hear your react. I want to get a live tasting here.
It's got a lot of ethanol.
Yeah. So.
It's pretty good. A little peanut shelly. But
I've told you before not to call me
definitely got some bite.
Yeah, don't call me Shelly in front of everybody.
I don't know if I prefer the 90 proof over the 101 proof or not. I mean, it's definitely got a burn going down because of the proof, but it's not bad. For $45-50, not a bad bottle.
Oh, good. I mean, is more alcohol really always better though?
With bourbon, typically higher proof. If you're used to high proof stuff, like I do quite often, you get more flavor notes out of high proof because it's a lot stronger flavoring. So, well,
even if it was good, I've no doubt I couldn't buy it here in Canada now because the shelves are empty of American booze. So,
well, and this comes from California, so I'm surprised they got rid of the California ones too, because they're essentially communists as well.
Just kidding.
So
I think they've actually they've quietly gone away from that because.
Well, yeah. I mean, he lifted the tariffs for now, so.
But yeah, I mean, I can always run down to the border and get some of the duty free just over the border. There's a really good duty free.
I'd be doing that anyway because half the time the duty free has a whole bunch of stuff that you can't get at regular stores, and it's funny, almost always priced at MSRP instead of. Yeah.
It's funny when I came back through the duty free. There's nothing to do with hockey. Obviously, I came back through the duty free. When I came up from Montana and when I went down to see Sabaton, I stopped at the duty free before the border, and as well as buying some booze, I bought some Donald Trump chocolate bars.
Yeah. Customs agents really like those, huh?
I couldn't resist it, and I could see the people in the stores. The people in the store working there were scowling at me, but they were selling them. So, I thought this is.
I don't think they get a choice. They're probably federal government employees.
Yeah,
they're probably losing their jobs in a few weeks.
The store is empty, but the doors are open now. Go ahead and take what you want. Anyway, that was funny. I just couldn't resist it. So there it was. Let's have a
look at the scores for today.
Yeah, let's check out on the scores.
As we've gotten back to it.
We're back to it.
There's a ton of teams playing today and tomorrow, like on back-to-backs. Like half the league is on a back-to-back this weekend, I think.
Oh, for sure, yeah. So let me just see if I can pull this up and we'll look at some scores. There are still games going on. I've got one of them over there, which is the Canucks Golden Knights, currently 1-1.
And Keely's right. The Blues had one job and they blew it today.
They blew it. I was so pissed off. So I was watching the scores. I think that was just at the end of the Stars game, and it was Blues 3, Jets 2. It said the Blues were on a power play and there was 11 seconds left. The next thing I knew, it was 3-3. How did that happen?
Yeah, I think they scored with 17 seconds left is what it ended up being.
It was just bizarre. It was like, come on. But anyway,
that's what happens when you pull the goalie.
But yeah, good to see you, Keely. Midday in Hong Kong. So good to see you here. It's always good to see Keely. Utah, the Utah Hockey Club. Now, what do we think the name's going to be?
Utah Hockey Club.
Yeah, I don't.
I think they're going to stick with it.
I thought the Yeti looked quite good, but they were told they couldn't do that.
Well, the problem is they keep trying to steal Colorado teams' names because the Colorado Mammoth is the professional lacrosse team in Denver. The Yeti is a symbol that the Avs have used from the beginning.
Yeah.
I mean, everything that they decided looked cool. It's like, yeah, you just took it from Colorado. Why? How about you not take it from Colorado and come up with something on your own?
So I think the Mammoth was another suggestion.
Right, but the Mammoth is our lacrosse team, like our pro level lacrosse team.
I think the Utah underpants would have been the best choice, or trousers. The
magic underwear,
magic underpants. The Utah Magic underpants. So they are losing currently, losing 4-3 to the Kings, and that game's nearly over. I don't really care either way, but I think it doesn't matter. Let the Kings win. As long as it doesn't go to overtime. As long as there's a clear winner. Golden Knights won, Canucks won, almost at the end of the second. The Wild had a 4-3 victory over the Red Wings. I think I've got a clip from that game. I think it was a big hit, though.
Oh no.
Oh no. Oh no.
Lynn Marie Stewart just died, I guess. Miss Yvonne from Pee Wee's Playhouse.
Oh dear.
Big part of my childhood. Sorry, I'm scrolling looking for extra clips for us.
Flyers 6, Oilers 3. So the McDavid effect didn't work today. Now we get the two wacky scores: Capitals 8, Penguins 3.
Yeah,
I think the Caps look pretty convincing there.
I don't know if it's that crazy of a score because it's the number one team against the Penguins. So,
yes. Well, Crosby's going to be an Av soon anyway, isn't he?
Yeah, Crosby and Marchand. Actually, I don't know a way that we can get both of them.
I've heard that everyone's joining the Avs.
Pretty much.
Every UFA and RFA is going to be playing for the
Avs. We're America's team, you know.
America's dumping ground for whatever. Then the other one, the Sabres 8-2 reaming of the Rangers, and it was 5-0 at the end of the first period.
Yeah.
Holy shit, that was bad.
Yep.
Rangers are just in total free fall.
Rangers look like trash. Shesterkin especially looks like trash.
Yes, my number one draft pick.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that in a few minutes. I've given up on the fantasy. Even the bots are beating me now. And you know what? I was my other goalie today that I picked in our fantasy was Stollarts of the Leafs, and he was 4-0 up.
Yeah,
the Leafs were 4-0 up with I don't know what it was. It was in the third, 4-0 up. I thought, great, I might get a shutout, and I'll make up for. No, they finished 6-3. So.
I love losing shutouts in the last 7 minutes of the third period.
I thought I could get a shutout to make up for Igor. Kraken to Panthers. One, a bit of a surprise, but
yeah. Did
Did
Bob play?
I think Bob did play today.
Okay.
I could be wrong though. I haven't. Let's check.
And he's on my team. I can check easy enough, I guess.
He did play. Yes, he did. I thought he did because I've got him in one of my other fantasy teams. He did play, and he lost. What a bum! Useless.
He is that.
He is
this
useless. Well, the thing is, when he first moved from, was it Columbus?
Yeah, Columbus.
He wasn't that good. They were complaining about him for 3 years there.
But he had been great in Columbus.
Well, he had been, yeah. Well,
then he got to Florida and had a year or two where he was floundering, and then became probably the second or third best goalie in the league there for a bit.
Yeah.
Won a cup last year.
Yeah, well, that's true. He doesn't give a shit what I think. Stars 4, Devils 2. It was actually quite a good game.
Hughes got 2 goals in that one, right, Jack?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hughes got
it's
two,
showing it.
but yeah, Hughes got the 2 goals, but for the Devils, but we've got a couple of clips from that game. Stars, that was it was a good game. Actually, they could have got the Devils were pretty damn good. Actually, yeah, it's a while since I've seen them, and they've got a pretty freaking good power play. They were moving it about well, but we just kind of rode our luck, and we
Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, Thomas
No,
Harley.
from what
We
I
talked
saw, they
about
looked pretty
Stars.
good today.
Stars were not bad. They weren't bad. They scored some good stuff. So scored some good goals. Thomas Harley was outstanding, coming off his victory in the greatest game in history against the US.
Uh-huh.
Uh, apparently, it's the greatest game in history, according to the Canadian media. But Harley was good today, so good win for the Stars. Casey D. Smith was the backup goalie played today, and he was outstanding. So well done
Yeah.
to
Are you
him.
guys on a back-to-back as well?
We're playing
Okay.
the Islanders tomorrow, so expect Ottinger will play that one. Um, Reds 2, Avs 1. What happened there?
Just could not put a goal. Yeah, I put the puck in the goal. And we got the first goal of the game, and we let them score like 45 seconds later. And then there was nothing for, the whole first period. Second period, they come out. We score in like the first 2 or 3 minutes. They score a minute later, tie it back up, and then nothing. And then you get the Preds with about 7 minutes left, get a goal to pull ahead. And then with 2.5 minutes left, there's a high sticking call on us. So, a 4 minute high sticking. So even if we got the goalie pulled, got the goal, it was still going to be the first 2.5 minutes of overtime was going to
Yeah,
be a man down. So it just didn't come together for us today. It
uphill
sucks
struggle.
losing to the
Yeah.
Preds. Those should have been easy points. And then tomorrow we've got St. Louis. So I expect we'll have the turnaround game tomorrow
I think so.
because,
Yeah, yeah. The
yeah.
Blues had one fucking job today, and they blew it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I expect you'll win that one. We hope so.
What's up, Basco? Yeah,
Uh,
I think we'll get the job done tomorrow. What we're really missing, and on this quick 2 game um, away trip, is we're going to get Nichushkin and Josh Manson back as soon as they
yeah.
get back into town. Nichushkin's been gone for weeks
So
again.
what was wrong
Manson's
with
been in
him?
and out. He's just had lingering injuries. I mean, he
Right.
finally came back in November from his 6 month suspension, immediately
Yeah.
got injured, and then every time he's come back, he's gotten re-injured. So, I mean, he's a major
Mm,
portion of our offense when he's in there because he's the guy. What they needed today was somebody in front of the goalie, running some interference on the goalie, you know,
yeah. Yeah.
keeping the line of sight clear or not clear, blocked. And there was nobody that seemed willing to do that today. I mean, you could have beat him. Saros has not been a great goalie this year.
No, he hasn't.
And
No,
if you
no.
get any traffic in front of him, he's not going to get it most of the time. So I don't know.
So you've been missing him. Yeah, I've
Not a
been
good
missing him.
game.
Yeah. Yeah, I was surprised. I really thought that was going to be in the bag for yeah, I was but these things
Yeah.
happen.
But I mean, speaking of Chushkin being out and Manson being out, I mean, at this point, I wanted to harp on something real quick with the Avalanche. I know we're in the middle of the
That's okay. Go
scoreboard,
for
but
it, man.
all the different athletic, things, predictions and polls talking about who's going to win which awards, that kind of stuff. Once again, Bednar is left out of the conversation for um the what is it? The which trophy is it for the coach of the year? Is that the Art Ross?
Yeah, I can
No,
never remember. No,
I
that's
can't
the
remember on that
scoring.
one.
That isn't that
Yeah,
Ross the scoring.
I can't remember which one it
Somebody in
is
the
for
chat will
coaching.
tell us. I can never remember these.
But he's never gotten it, even after turning around from the worst team in the league to making the playoffs the next year. He's won a cup. This year, we have had more players rostered than any other team because of the amount of injuries we've had. I mean, we talked about the injuries last year to the Avs. This year has been even more devastating as far as the number of players we've had to pull up. So he's basically got a bottom six that are AHLers coming up having them mix in with NHLers all over the place, and then another group of them coming up, 2 weeks later. So he's coached more players than anybody in the league this year, and we're still
Well, it
in a
was the same
playoff
last
spot.
year, though. That was the same
Right.
last year.
But he
Yeah.
didn't get any mention last year either. But we're still in a playoff spot is what I'm getting at. At some point, they've got to look at it and say, this guy, it doesn't matter what injuries are thrown at him. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that he's got McKinnon and Makar. That's only two players on the team. You've got to deal with the rest of the lines as well.
Well,
And
he's
when
got a
the whole
system.
bottom six is gone and his system is still working and we're making the playoffs, I think at some point you've got to look at him and say, yeah, that guy does deserve at least one coach of the year through in his career. I mean, it's kind of crazy that he gets no mention ever.
Yeah, I've never heard him mentioned in it, even when you won the cup. So it's a bit weird.
Because everybody just assumes, well, you got McKinnon and Makar, so screw you. You anybody could coach them.
You can bet your bottom dollar if the Oilers won the cup that their coach would get coach of the year.
Right. Yeah. But I mean, like, look at Rantanen. Rantanen goes to the Canes and
I'd rather not.
He's doing nothing. I mean, so it is playing with other players, and it's also playing in a system that is suited to the players that you have.
Yeah, but I mean, let's look. Okay, you say he's doing
Rantanen
nothing,
won't be a Cane by the end of the trade deadline.
They've made him a 9-figure offer.
It's an offer.
So what I wanted to know about this 9-figure offer is where's the decimal point? So that means it's like 900,000 a year. Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's definitely about what he's getting paid.
Yeah. Well, it didn't help them today because they lost 6-3.
6-3.
And they were 4-0 down at the end of the first, so that game was over by then.
Yeah, and I didn't look to see if Rantanen scored, but I mean, he hasn't done anything since he got there. At this point, the Avs have easily won that trade, even though you lost a player like Rantanen.
He got an assist, that's it.
Yippee. Rantanen is not there for assists. He's supposed to be their goal scorer. That's what they signed him for, or traded for.
A lot of people say, "Oh well, you got to give him time." But other players move and they settle in pretty quick. So it's
I don't think it's the right fit.
His system is not. Yeah, their system is not right for him. They're a defensive team. It's not right. So
they either need to change the system around him as their goal scorer, or they may need to, by the trade deadline, already decide to move on, because I don't think he's going to sign with them.
No. Now, where should
he end up? The way things are going there, I don't think he's going to be willing to spend the next 8 years there.
I wonder where he might end up then. Interesting.
Better not be Vegas.
It'll probably be Toronto.
I don't think they can sign him. I mean, they've got some team-friendly deals, but
he actually might fit quite well in the Stars, but we've not got the room for that either, so that ain't gonna happen. But yeah, they got Canes got hammered today.
Yep.
Ducks beat the Bruins 3-2 in overtime. Nice win for the Habs, the Canadians 5-2 against the Senators. So it's a pretty good win for them. They're still ticking along nicely. The Blue Jackets beat the Blackhawks 5-1, and do a little clip from that, which might play later if we've got time, which was Johnny Gaudreau's wife and son were there. His little baby son, 1-year-old, and they all
1-year-old.
whole crowd sang happy birthday to him. If you don't cry when you see that, then you're a monster.
Mm-hmm.
It was really nice. And funnily enough, Johnny Gaudreau's parents are at the Vegas game tonight, I noticed. So.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so that was a really cute moment. The frickin' Jets.
The Blues blew it, like we said.
And then Kings 5. Oh, that's finished now. Kings 5, Utah Club 3. Who cares? So yeah, one game still going. Canucks Knights, one each. Go Canucks. That's all I can say.
Sure. Yeah.
So standings. We'll have a quick look.
Not much has changed since last week.
I mean, that's right.
Or well, 2 weeks ago, I mean.
Yeah, not a lot. Panthers, Leafs, Lightning still dominating the Atlantic. Caps are just killing it, like league-wide. I think they're top in the league. Hurricanes, not so great. Devils lost today, so yeah, it's still in the East. There's still a bunch of teams that might make it.
Yeah.
Might even see the Red Wings make the playoffs again.
JS Pinion, not really a question for this show, but we can address it tomorrow on the bullpen.
Yeah.
Even if you just watched a replay of it, if you're not able to make it to the bullpen.
But yeah, the Rangers in danger of slipping too far behind, as are the Islanders. But the Sabres, 51
I think the Rangers are cooked.
I think
I think Boston's cooked. Boston, I think the reason I think Marchand's going to be moved is I don't think. No, keep it on wild card. Boston, there's too many teams that have games in hand on them. They're already outside of it, only by a point. But look at all the teams that have games in hand ahead of them and behind them.
Well, I mean, they're on 61 points, and the Tampa Bay Lightning are on 66.
They're not catching.
So
yeah, they're not catching up there.
No.
And that's 3 games in hand to catch the Lightning. So I think Boston's going to end up in the next couple weeks. Yeah, in the next couple weeks, they're going to have to transition into sellers.
Yeah, so no Bruins, no Rangers in the playoffs is probably going to happen. So yeah,
and I think Columbus. I think the Red Wings are going to get in, and I think Columbus will maybe edge out Ottawa, but I think Boston and New York are both cooked.
Yep. Interesting. Well, if they're cooked, that means that no matter how hard they try, the Habs are never going to make it either. The Canadians, 57, but I don't know. There's still a little bit of wiggle room there, like with the Atlantic, in terms of the wild card. You could still see the Canadians making it, possibly.
Maybe, but they've got more games played too.
No, they're true. 57. Yeah.
I don't think it moves unless Columbus and Ottawa swap places. I think everything below that. I mean, technically New York could and the Islanders could, but the games in hand worry me. I mean, we're down to 25, 24 games left in the season for most teams.
Yeah.
I mean, these teams aren't playing well either. So
no, they're not.
It'll be interesting if Columbus can make it again for the first time in a little bit. They've been playing pretty good hockey this year.
I always root. I'm with TZ. I always root for Columbus. I don't know why. I just do. But yeah, you've got you could have the playoffs without the Bruins, without the Rangers, without the Penguins. Absolutely.
And the reason I keep saying Marchand is the one that's likely to go is he's a free agent next year. So unless you're going to sign him for the rest of his career, he's aging up. I mean, he's the captain of the Bruins, but I mean, do you go ahead and make the deal now and get something in return? Because do you want Marchand for the rest of his career?
I hope he doesn't sign for the Stars because I really don't want to have to cheer for him.
That's kind of how it felt during the tournament too, right?
Yeah.
It was weird in the Four Nations cheering for a whole bunch, like having to cheer for the Kachucks.
Yes,
that felt so dirty,
bad, isn't it?
Especially since they were kind of the heartbeat of Team USA. Yeah. I mean, they were everything on Team USA.
I'll tell you what, we should have a Marchand break.
Game is on, and Marchand wins the race for the puck down the boards right off the drop. Slips to the Bergeron, back to Marchand. The shot knocked down in front and cleared. Sagan on his horse there, picks it up. The Bruins quickly regroup in the neutral zone. Seidenberg hard around. His drive, knocked down in front again. Bergeron on the rebound. Oh, there's too much contact there. That crosses the threshold. Andrew Farron says you do not threaten the DNA of the hive. The honeybees are willing to die to protect that.
We need some new friends.
What's Brad Marchand doing here?
Could use the help. Since we opened these hockey outlet stores, business is booming. I was looking for some hours, so I thought I'd try him around the store.
You have a big dome, eh?
No? Hey, Brad, maybe cashier's more your thing.
So if I find this anywhere else for a lower price, you'll refund me the difference?
That's a pure hockey low price guarantee.
I got this, Fred.
Why don't you take a break?
Yeah, good move, what do you got?
Yeah.
What's up, fellas? It's pass. Please, face. Don't drink.
Good night. Take care. Good night. Take care.
Good job.
Good night. Take care.
Great job.
Good night. All right. Great job.
Thank you.
Welcome aboard.
Yeah, I mean, we all hate him, but he's a funny. He can be a funny guy.
Honestly, we've talked about him basically since we started the show on how much of a rat he is. But one of the things that we found during the whole Four Nations thing was he's probably the most personable hockey player that they had. And all the interviews were with him. I mean, he was willing to talk about anything. I've got the clip of him after the overtime win for Canada, going back and telling all the guys, it's fun to watch you guys, because Marchand, I think, touched the ice in overtime for maybe 15 seconds.
Right,
So
yeah.
he was a spectator in the overtime. But they've mic'd him up for everything because they figured he's going to be the chirper. But dude has a great personality. During hockey games, it's just like, I hate the guy. When he's not on your team, he's one of those guys.
But that whole thing where he talked about Bergeron in the showers.
Yeah.
That's legendary. I mean, I couldn't help but love the guy for that. It was so funny.
Was it Bergeron or Pasta?
Sorry, Pasta. Sorry, what was
Pasta.
saying Bergeron?
Okay.
Pasta in the showers, yeah. Oh, he's a big guy,
You guys want me to describe some more?
That's right. That was hilarious. But anyway, so just to finish off looking at the standings, the East is still a bit of a log jam, but I think the certain teams are just looking so bad they're not going to make it.
Mm-hmm.
And the West, it's a little bit more clear cut, I think. I mean,
for the most part.
Yeah, I mean the Jets are now 8 in a row, and there's no way the Jets ain't making nothing. They're making the show.
They'll go in as the
time.
1 seed.
Yeah, Stars are still ticking along quite nicely. For whatever reason, and there's lots of rumbles that we might be trying to sign Seth Jones, which I think would be a great signing.
Popeye's kid.
Yeah, that's right. Tom's kid, Tom Jones. It's not unusual to sign Seth Jones. The Wild, do we really want the Wild in there? Come on, the Avs have to catch the Wild.
Either way, I think they're in.
Yeah, I just think that,
even if we jump them, I'm pretty sure that they're perfectly fine on the wild card spot.
Yeah, there's no way the Avs are not making the playoffs at this point. You can say the only variable is probably the last wild card slot. So
the last wild card slot, and
third, and
whether the Kings fall down to the wild card versus the Canucks.
Yeah. So
you could still have some movement in that division, but I think
the Pacific is the questions. Yeah, Pacific.
Yeah, I think Utah's probably done. Calgary could go on a run to do it. I mean, they've got. The part that worries me is we've played 58. Most teams have played 55, 56, some 57s. So,
yeah,
I mean, while the Avs are seemingly firmly in the wild card spot, the 3 teams behind us have 3 games in hand and 2 games in hand on us.
Yeah.
So, but I don't think they're good enough teams to be all that worried about.
Well, as
And
we've
what we're
seen,
seeing is the goal differential is kind of
it
speaking
doesn't
to
lie.
which
It
teams are
doesn't
going to make
lie.
it.
Yeah. The goal differentials doesn't lie, I don't think. I mean, you're seeing a huge drop off after Colorado. So the Flames, yeah, they're kind of hovering there, but are they really gonna? Probably not.
Don't know.
Yeah, but yeah,
3 games in hand is a lot of games in hand. That's
But if you look at
it's a possible 6
the,
points there.
if you look at it from a division perspective, I think it's the Pacific is the place where there might be a little bit of movement. But and by the way, I think the Vegas are now 2-1 up against Vancouver.
Okay.
And the poor Sharks at minus 68.
Yeah.
Dear poor buggers. I feel bad for them. But anyway, that's the standings. We might as well look at fantasy. And it is a fantasy that I'll ever. I am so bad now in this. It's just unbelievable. So let me just refresh that. So our fantasy, you're now firmly back on top with 109 points.
Well,
109.5 points.
It's sort of firmly. I mean, that's what the score shows. But again, it's all it takes is a couple people picking off individual categories, and I drop real quick because it's hard to hold. It's hard to hold where I'm at in all of the categories. I mean,
So Mikey's had a 0. You both had 0 days, you and Mikey. So
yeah,
Cocho dropped down minus 5.5, but
that was a
thanks
painful
to
day.
Shesterkin and then Stoltart's fucking up at the end. I'm down minus 3. I'm actually getting beaten by most of the bots now, so I should have just botted myself.
You just better hope you beat my daughter.
I
mean, that's where you're at now.
At this point, I'm not so sure.
Basco is just barely sticking with my daughter.
At this point, I'm not so sure. I think I'm gonna drop right down. So, and it's a lot of it is the goalie shit. Oh god, I had a bad day with Shesterkin. And then Stollart's good. He wins, but he loses 3 goals in the last period. Yeah, good job, man.
The thing with goalies at this time of the year, though, is even one bad game shouldn't hurt you, a ton. I mean, we've got most of the seasons already done, so percentage-wise, one bad game shouldn't hurt you too bad. Yeah. But it depends on,
my team.
5 goals is a lot of goals.
My team was so bad that even when there was no games going on, I was dropping down.
Yeah, I did notice that.
There's no games and I'm still dropping. How does that happen?
Yeah. Little audio slave like a stone.
That's right. Yes, that's the one. Yeah, so there's still, I mean, you're 6.5. I noticed last year when I was winning last year. Those days
that last week?
Those days are long gone. That once you get a little bit of a lead, it is very hard to pull that back overall.
Well,
anyway,
Mikey had me for 1 week. Otherwise, I've gone wire to wire, I think.
You have, yes, you have.
But I went wire to wire to about this point last year, and that's when you overtook me.
So there's only 2 categories that you're not in double digits points-wise, and that's assists and plus minus.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do with
that? Plus minus, I don't think there's anything I can do. I mean, I can grab a couple points, but nobody's getting to the top up there with Mike on that one.
Well, you're -1. You could certainly catch Michael's nifty team bot.
Yeah, I was +5, I think, just 2.5 weeks ago. So that one can change really, really quick.
It can. And then
you kind of hope that if your players get scored on, it's on a power play.
Yeah, and I think assist is the other one that you're.
Yeah, assist. I'm down as well.
Well, you're not the only 17 behind T, so you never know.
Right, but there's only, I mean, right behind me, there's 2 people who can pick me off as well. And if I start focusing on assist and plus minus, then I may drop in other categories, and then, I'm probably gonna just keep it kind of where we're at and just try to sail to the end instead of trying to chase any other categories other than where I'm already kind of topping it. Because
Indeed. Well,
goalie wise, I've got it pretty much
I think at
locked
this
in.
point I would be putting money on you to win.
You'd probably lose.
No way. You're gonna win. So anyway, yeah, that was so the fantasy is. I mean, we've only had today's games. Apart from me, I went downhill. Whilst no other games were happening, I still went down. I think it's a conspiracy, but we'll see next week. Next week will be interesting. We're getting towards the end. It's weird. It's the end.
Yeah, we got 2 weeks until the trade deadline.
Yeah.
We've got a few days until Las Vegas puts somebody on LTIR.
Well, let's check if Theodore is on LTIR.
I don't think he is yet.
Yeah.
But Mark Stone will probably have appendicitis tomorrow.
I think Mark Stone's liver just had to be removed today or something. Or he's on the ice.
He doesn't want mine.
No, he doesn't. No. So anyway, let's play a few clips though.
Yeah, let's do some clips from the Four Nations and then a couple clips from today, and then that'll probably wrap us for the week because there's just not that much besides the tournament for the last 2 weeks. So
let's get some Four Nations clips, and then we'll. I got a couple of Stars clips from today and stuff like that. So
okay.
You want to do the full Monty?
Let's do the showstopper to start it, I guess.
So then this was the round. See, the thing is, the US blew its wad on the round robin game instead of waiting for the final.
Okay.
They blew their wad. Well, couldn't they have waited till the final?
Well, then you might have been in trouble of. I know. I was just testing to make sure I had the audio going to the right place. I mean, if you lose to Canada in that game, then you're having to play like Canada and hope that you actually get into the final.
Well, that's right. Yeah.
So I was happier locking up the position in the finals. So, all right, this is the opening face-off of Canada USA.
This is great. 9 seconds of magic.
We got 2 seconds off the clock, and Matthew Tkachuk.
Yeah, we hate the Tkachuks, but my God, they stepped up.
Yeah, they did. I think this tournament changed a lot of people's opinions on a lot of players.
Yeah.
Depending on what country you're from and, that kind of stuff.
Some guys did really well. I mean, as Mike says about Thomas Harley, he's really good. Thomas Harley, who was only standing in for Makar, I think, but he played really
got pulled up.
well. He played really well. Got a lot of attention he doesn't normally get.
That's the first 2 seconds of the.
That's right.
There was Hagel right there. But
2 seconds.
All right, 1 second ticked off. Here comes little brother Brady Tkachuk, Sloth, coming in to also start a fight with a smaller guy.
There's some wild swinging going on.
Yeah.
And he's got him down. That's the right.
Slam to Bennett.
Yeah. So now we're 7 seconds in.
And then 9 seconds in, we get the next fight. Which is finally a bigger Canadian versus a smaller American.
Yeah,
JT Miller.
JT Miller is not a big guy.
He dropped and he damn near punches himself in the face there. I don't know if you saw that. I think he actually did punch himself in the face.
I had to give him a lot of credit for fighting at all.
Well, he was going to fight anybody who he had the gloves off from the seconds a puck dropped. Watch him. See right there? He uppercuts himself.
Yeah, he does. That's pretty,
and knocks his own helmet off.
Way to go. Yeah, if you knock yourself out, you're doing well.
But he was giving up a good 6 inches on that fight. But Brady and Matthew both went at smaller guys. So But that's how the Canada USA game 1 kicked off. They had actually talked via a group text and decided they were going to do that, and it was partially in response to booing the national anthem during the what was it, America Finland game, the very very first game.
Yeah, but Canadians have been booing American NHL teams since all this stuff started, and
that's different than the national anthem.
Yeah, but today, well, no, the anthem's every game. So,
oh well, yeah.
So I don't know about today. I don't know if there was any booing at any games today. I don't know, but I have an opinion on this, which is I think anyone that boos either anthem, fuck you, because it's all about respect for the vet. A lot of it is respect for veterans, because it's usually a veteran that comes out before they sing the anthem and whatever. No matter what you think, booing that is just fucking garbage, in my opinion. So
yeah,
I hate that.
Well, and I think what's going to come of it, if it continues, is going to be that we just don't do the anthems before the game.
I know,
because I don't think there's another solution that you can do as the NHL. You can't stop them from booing, but I think it'll just turn into we don't do the anthems before the game if it continues to run this way. So,
and I, as a Canadian citizen who's lived in America and who went to all those games in Dallas, I stood, put my hand in my heart for both anthems.
Yeah. Every game I go to that it's against a Canadian team, we do "O Canada," and besides questioning whether you're actually, most Canadians are actually standing on guard for thee, I still have my
our sexuality. Stop it! You were going to question our sexuality, weren't you?
No, it's when you're letting a socialist Fidel Castro take over the country. Are you really standing on guard?
Well, don't get me started. You could get
me
started. But yes,
I respect both of the anthems every game that I go to.
Because for me,
in fact, I'll sing "O Canada" along with it.
Yeah, it's about respect for those who sacrificed their lives for that, and that's why I hate it. Hate the booing. Not classy on anybody's part. But anyway.
No different than Kaepernick kneeling for the anthem.
Yes,
screw you.
Exactly.
We're done with you.
It's shit. Yeah. So, but anyway, back to that. The people were calling it the greatest 9 seconds in hockey history. I don't know, but it was pretty impactful. It was impactful.
It was definitely an exciting thing that got all eyes onto hockey.
It did.
For one night, it got every eye onto hockey. People that normally don't watch hockey, don't have any clue about hockey, were just like, holy crap, this whole boil over between Canada and USA is really something. And then
pretty something, wasn't it?
I mean, the game settled down pretty quick after that. But it was a definite kickoff to that game. I mean, because the Finns and the Swedes were never in this. I think everybody knew that.
It's a shame because
they're
I love
good
the
teams.
Finns. I love the Finns.
Yeah, they're good teams. They just, Canada and USA, outside of maybe Russia, are the powerhouses in hockey right now. If there was a Russian team, I think they would have been doing just fine in this tournament. It would have been a fight for getting into the championship game if they were involved.
But it's funny that Canada is so het up about the American thing in hockey and Americans winning everything and blah, and yet they, if they should be thinking, why is it that we're always getting beaten, or even America's even close to us, given it's our so-called national sport?
Yeah. When it's supposed to be your sport, and the American juniors won earlier this year.
Just beat them, you just beat the Americans there on that thing. So there's a lot of questions about Canadian hockey and where it is, and they haven't won the Stanley Cup for 32 years. But then again, Canadian teams have got players from lots of other countries in them too. So that's not. But when it comes to national stuff, Canada, and it is Canada's game. I mean, I go to AAA quadruple, whatever junior shit here. It's everyone. It's embedded in the DNA here, and yet we keep struggling to beat America. So America's come out way up there, and there's questions in Canada about that. Like, oh yeah, we won that game, but why is it so close? Why are we not doing better? Why are we failing?
I mean, I think
Canada.
it's kind of obvious. You've got more people in America, more kids. Even though more kids will play hockey in Canada as their first sport, there are enough kids in America that will play it as their first sport that, you've just got more population. So
Yeah.
it's also that, and it could be some of the systems. It could be the style of game because, the Finns and the Swedes have definitive styles in the way that they play.
Yes.
We saw that through the tournament, and that's, what was it? The Swedish coach is the guy that's been there for, they have him as in charge of their international game. The program is his, right? It's either him or the Finns, but he's not an NHL coach. He's not. It's just he has control of that program. That's what their juniors do. That's what their NHL players are going to do when they come back to play for their country. And they have an idea of what our national hockey style is. Canada and USA, I think it's based on what players you got, because the coaches are not part of the program. It's just you're bringing in a couple of NHL coaches and saying, okay, do your thing.
Pete DeBoer and people like that. Yeah, it's
yeah.
But anyway, it is an ongoing discussion, despite the political stuff. Why is Canada not dominant like it used to be? And it's
more kids are playing.
Yeah, more kids are playing, and I think it's seen as a negative, but to me, it's a positive. It means people outside of Canada, more and more people in other countries are becoming involved in this sport. And the USA would just happen to be one of the main countries that were there first. So,
yeah, well, we've got the NHL based out of the USA. So
we did get some stuff like this as well, though, in the which always gladdens the heart of any McJesus lover.
Yeah.
Previously, McDavid
see ya.
On the boards by Brahmabull. What a great hit. Watch Jack Eichel's hands. He takes the puck deep into his feet and he lays.
Yeah, so there was some nice big hits like that. There was, but this was funny, which was, I love the heading of this this tweet from FanDuel Sportsbook. Joel Embiid, NBA player, is out 2 to 3 weeks after watching
the
hit. Brady, just watching it is putting a basketball player out.
Brady Tkachuk was hitting anything that moved.
That is a nice hit.
That's a huge hit.
Oh,
he actually takes him airborne.
Yeah, I mean, and it's perfect. It's a perfect hit. The perfect hit. It's so good you can hear it. That was one thing about the Stars Devils game that I watched tonight. The sound was excellent in the Victory Plus broadcast. In that arena, you could hear the puck hitting the sticks. You could hear players hitting the boards. You could hear every noise of the game like you were at it. Some games you don't hear that. The audio mix is like, oh, you don't hear that. You just hear the commentators.
It's too much crowd, not enough.
Yeah, you heard
of the actual sounds of the game. Yeah,
you heard every sound of the game. It was wonderful. But what you didn't hear was, hang on. Oh, this is it. What you didn't hear was this.
The guy getting hit in between the benches again.
Razor, listen very carefully. Listen to the beginning of this.
And the puck is dropped and it's 4-0. Here in the opening period. Razor just took another one.
Oh.
He took it right on the bridge of the nose, right there, because the blood spot is directly in between his eyes. It's not bleeding a lot, but he.
The puck is dropped and it's 4-0.
This is the problem with people being
with having the guy down in between. The only reason that space exists.
Yeah.
Patrick
What is
Waugh.
it? Oh, Patrick. Wow. Okay, because he got a bit.
They put the spacer in between the two teams so that Patrick Waugh can't go through the glass to get to the other coach anymore.
Yeah, that's funny. That was a
It's
funny
true
one.
though. I mean,
It's
they
true,
put it
yeah.
in after that happened.
Yeah. That was so funny. Poor bugger. He's standing there just doing his broadcasting thing. Whack right in the
It happens every now and then. I mean, you see them get a puck that just goes perfectly in between those two stanchions.
yeah. But yes,
Um,
what'd you got?
I've got a sign of things to come. This is one of the goals in Canada, Finland. You know, since Sidney Crosby and Nathan McKinnon are soon to be teammates.
Yeah. Also, you keep saying.
Deflected along by Point. 5 minutes in, second period. Canada scored 3 in the first on Lankinen. Got by McKinnon, score!
No.
Nathan McKinnon with his second of the afternoon. It is now 4-0.
That may be the thing that comes from this tournament, though, is I think Crosby was firmly going to stay a Penguin for life. And then after playing with his best friend, McKinnon, that may have put the question mark in his head of, do I really want to do this and be on a rebuild team? Or would it be better to go play with my friend that we obviously have tons of chemistry between the two guys?
This is it is an interesting discussion.
Would never be a question without this tournament.
Yeah, but it's an interesting discussion around, well, it's not loyalty, but, is it worth, if you looked back, if Sidney Crosby at age 80 looked back on it, and let's say he stayed with the Penguins, and that's it, he ends in, never making the playoffs again, whatever, and he looks back on it 40 years from now and goes, fuck it, maybe I should have done something else. Would it be better for him to do what you're saying, which is to team up with his friend and have one last kick at the big can? Wouldn't,
even if
I
you
think,
don't win the cup, what is it?
Yeah.
What is
what is the one team loyalty really
being
worth?
able to play with one of your best friends in the sport? I mean, they've been doing things together since McKinnon got into the league. They've been friends. They're from the same area. I mean, same city. I mean, how often do you get to play? I mean, it's kind of like the Sedin brothers, the Sedin twins. I mean, how often do you get a chance like that where you spend your whole career or even a portion of your career playing with somebody that's that close to you?
But also, what is the value of one team loyalty worth when you may have had one more shot at glory?
Especially when you've been the face of the NHL, you have taken the hometown discounts, and at this point, you're in rebuild for probably the rest of your career.
It's not like you've let that team down if you say, I want to go do that one last thing. You've been there for, what has he been there for, 15 years?
Yeah,
Whatever.
it's been a long time.
Yeah,
And I would say it's different than, say, Ray Bork, where Bork got close and never got there and then asked for the trade finally to a contender and then finally got the cup. It's different than that. But is it really? Because it's like, okay, I did everything for you guys. I won the cups for you.
Yeah,
I
given
want to
you
go
everything.
do something for the joy of the game, not just to say that I am a Penguin for
I'd
life.
give it one more try somewhere else just to say I did that in my career.
I don't even know that I would do it to say that I was chasing the cup again. I would do it because
just to
the
say
joy
you
of
had-
playing on a line with somebody that you genuinely
in a
have fun
different-
being around.
in a different place.
Yeah.
I mean, I think the regret in not doing that later would be, you know what, I always just played, I loved it in Pittsburgh, but I always played there. Maybe it would have been nice to try something else just once, because careers are, your career is finite.
Yeah.
What's wrong with, there's nothing wrong with that. Say, you know what, let me go somewhere else and just try it that one time in my career.
Yeah. But it seems to be him that's holding it up.
Yeah.
So,
So
I mean,
I think
it's
he
his
should do it.
prerogative. He can do whatever he wants. I mean, I'm sure he's got a no trade clause. I've never looked at it, but I Ryan, I don't think that they can offload Crosby and Malkin unless they agree to it.
No, they're full no trade, I'm sure.
I'm positive they're no trades. At least Crosby is definitely full on no trade. I would love to see Crosby go to Colorado, but I don't think he's quite there yet. That's why I was joking around saying that he was going to be there, but I really do think the Marchand thing is more likely. Because there's two teams Marchand will go to if they decide to deal him, and it's Vegas or it's Colorado.
Yeah. But if it was me and I'm thinking ahead to when I'm older and it's all over and I'm an old guy, I'd look back. What regrets what are the regrets I would have if I look back? And if one of them was I could have had a year or two of playing with my best buddy on a competing team with having some fun in a different environment, having given all to that other team that I used to be with, I regret not doing it. I think he would regret not doing it more than staying with Pittsburgh when they're and seeing his career out there, but yet, okay, great. He's done great things with them. He's given them everything. Why not try something else just once in your career? It's like, you know what? That's what you regret when you're older. The things you didn't do.
Yeah. The chances you didn't take.
Yeah. So I think that could play a part. We'll see.
We'll see. I mean, this would be the year that I think it would be most likely to happen, if it's going to happen with either of those players. I'm going to have another pour, and it's going to be a brand new bottle of Early Times, bottled in bond.
So you finished that last bottle already?
Yeah.
Right. So I want to talk about
one glass is all it takes, right?
That's right. For me, definitely. Yeah. I do want to talk about. So I'm sure we'll talk about that again next week or the next few weeks because you never know what
trade deadline's coming up quick.
Yeah, it's 2 weeks away. 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Anyway, I want to talk about a guy that's dear to my heart, Thomas Harley, who did come in and play for the Canadians, and I can't make this bigger because it's a GIF. And he made quite an impression. Not necessarily a guy others there is having a nice hit. Not necessarily a guy others in the outside of Dallas think about a lot, Thomas Harley, but I mean, he started playing with the Stars. He was pretty young. He was like 18, 19. Been there for regular now for 4 years. Made a little bit of a name for himself coming in there. And this goal tonight was just fucking sublime by him. So I wanted to show this. This is what the rest of the league, well, the players might know it, but maybe fans don't know about Harley. He is a fucking good player.
Strong New Jersey kill. Here's Harley, a shot. He scores!
Now, they showed this from behind. He had no view of that, and yet he still scored.
2-week segment for Thomas Harley keeps on going here in New Jersey.
So I think he's sneakily going to become one of the best players in the league in the future.
Little help for Wyatt Johnston, and there's Harley again. I just love his ability to swivel hips.
That is a beautiful goal.
And then attack. I mean, he had one thing on his mind. Get in the middle of the ice first. If there's a lane, I'm going to rip it.
I mean, he had absolutely no view of that net there, and he still scored.
Beautiful to watch.
So well done, Thomas Harley. Beautiful goal. Lovely guy. And he's still just a kid. I mean, he's been playing like in the Stars for 4 years at the top level, and he's still just like 22 or something. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So a great guy.
Just one last thing to cap off that conversation that Ryan from your chat had said. What would be proper trade terms for a Crosby or a Malkin? For the Avs, I think you're going to give up Casey Middlestat, a solid 2C on our team, which could be, he could be a 1C or a 2C on another team, especially during a rebuild, and probably some picks. But I think that is about what Crosby's going to be worth.
And I think if Crosby said
He's an aging player.
Yeah, and if he said, I want to go, don't put anything in my way of it.
Right.
You're not going to get this, mythical, fantastic return on it. It's going to be solid return. That's it.
Yeah. I think Colorado would definitely deal Casey Middlestat. I think we're going to deal Casey Middlestat before the trade deadline or at the trade deadline either way. The other player I would say that could be involved in a trade would be Ross Colton, who actually started off the season as the number one, the leading scorer in the league until he got injured about a month into the season, which is shocking since he was a third line center, or a third line winger. But I mean, two players like that, either one of them could go with a couple, second or third round picks, and that's probably fair compensation to the Pens. So
I think so.
just to answer the question that was in the chat. So
I don't think it would take a huge amount for him to move. It would be, why would the Pens wouldn't put that anything in his way if he said, yeah, I want to go.
Right. But I think a middle six center or a middle six winger or a third or fourth defender is about what's right for Crosby at this point. Because although he played great in the Four Nations, dude's getting old. He's not going to demand anything. Yeah. I mean, he's coming to the last 2 or 3 years of his career, likely. So that's what I would say that the Avs should give up.
Yeah, I think you'd see a reasonable return, but I mean, we've seen a lot of top players moving in these deals that get very small return. If they want to go, they want to go, and they're not going to let somebody put a lot in their way in their current organizations.
Middlestats, you're going to get a young player in return, is what the Pens are going to get. If it's Middlestat, if it's Colton, you're getting something in the 23 to 25-year-old range where they're not at their peak, but they are good players in their own rights that are still on their way up, that kind of thing.
And that's what the Pens
That's
need.
What a rebuild needs.
Yeah, that's what they need. So I think that would be a very reasonable deal for both parties.
Yeah.
So I did want to just highlight another guy that this is from tonight's Stars game against New Jersey as well. Another guy that's really stepped up for us, Liam Bichel, rookie defender. He's like Matt Rempe, but without the psycho edge.
Yeah.
He's really stepped up since he was called up early this year, and we've had all sorts of defensive injuries. This is a sweet, sweet hit he did tonight. And that's game over.
Yeah. He's a big boy.
He's a big boy. At one point, he was wrestling with two Devils players and handled them both. But that is a sweet, sweet hit. I just had to play that.
It was nice.
Yeah, Liam. Look out for this guy. You're going to see you're going to hear a lot about this guy.
I don't have any gameplay clips of my team, but I do have a pretty funny interview with Jared Bednar from practice yesterday.
Do it.
So the background on this is our backup goalie Wedgwood during practice was down on the ice writhing in pain. So Bednar is talking. They're asking a question of Bednar, like, what was going through your mind when you see your backup goalie, down on the ice writhing in pain? And I think, let me pop up the volume because Bednar is pretty quiet. So
pump up the volume. Pump up the volume.
Wedgwood, his first practice back after his upper body injury. She gets hit and goes down. Blackwood takes a shot up high in his eyes a little bit. Are you holding your breath there?
A little bit, yeah. Well, when I went down, because you just look over your shoulder, I said, well, like, you see the goalie down and he's like in obvious pain and discomfort, and you're thinking the worst right away. Like, was it a groin? Whatever. And he got hit in the jewels, and I was like, oh, thank God. I'm sure he didn't want to hear that, but I was like, yes.
Yeah, did you hear him though?
Yeah, the family jewels. Yes.
He got hit in the nuts, and this is Bednar's response to that.
I was like, oh, thank God. I'm sure he didn't want to hear that, but I was like, yes. Good. See you back out here in a few minutes.
Okay, for Bednar to say that.
See you back out here in a few minutes.
That's right. Yeah, you don't need those things when you need
Yeah.
them.
I thought that one was hilarious because it's just like, you think your goalie's down hurt, and you find out he gets hit in the nuts, and it's like, oh, good.
He doesn't need those. He can play with it. The family jewels.
Fantastic.
It's not a phrase you hear a lot now. The jewels, the family jewels.
Right.
It's kind of an old-fashioned phrase. The family.
I've got a few more clips, but nothing that really necessarily has to be played. It's just a couple stupid things.
I got a couple of things, but nothing much. We should pay tribute to Tage Thompson, who couldn't even make the fourth line for the US team.
Yeah,
Was
ridiculous.
called up. Ridiculous decision, and here he is scoring. I think it was the third goal tonight for Buffalo.
Yep, third goal. All by himself. Does this all by himself.
Exactly, yeah.
With the penalty.
Didn't even get a call up, couldn't get in that team.
He was next to be called up after Hughes.
Yeah. That man's wasted in Buffalo. Wasted.
Yep, I've got him on my fantasy team. But watch this. They do call the penalty here for the hook. Because the ref does have the hand up in the air, and he manages to score on the delayed penalty.
I don't need your stinking penalty.
Yep.
So well done, Thompson.
That kid's a giant too.
Oh, he is. He's like I don't know. You can see it right there. He's
got to be 6'4", 6'5".
Oh yeah, but I mean, what a beast and wasted. In
well,
Buffalo.
At least on skates, 6'4", 6'5". He's probably actually like 6'2", 6'3", but
yeah,
those skates add.
People were saying in that Twitter post, is it too late to add him to the Four Nations roster?
I know. I was pretty pissed that he was left off.
Yeah. Well done, Tage. I mean, yeah, great player, and I mean, I can't see him staying at Buffalo forever. So it's who knows where he might end up.
Well, he's young, and the whole thing is they're going to. They're trying to grow it from a whole bunch of youngsters. It's kind of crazy the way the Sabres did everything with just piling up picks and then actually picking instead of trading any of them to get any pieces for their rebuild.
And I feel bad for them because I've been to a lot of games in Buffalo and I've always enjoyed it. And I've enjoyed my times that I've spent in that city, despite everybody giving it a hard time. The fans there are great. I really wish I just wish they would once get a playoff team,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's kind of what's crazy about Buffalo too, is everything about the way that team's put together says that they should be playing well.
I know they should, yeah.
But they don't. They've got great offense. They've got great defense. They've got a serviceable goalie. And yet they just don't win games.
Yeah, and yet today they just were on fire.
Yeah.
Against a bad team, obviously. But
one more because of the... Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
No, I was going to say, as I say, I've been to a lot of stuff in Buffalo, a lot of games, and I'd like them to just have one. I mean, what is it? How many years? They're the team that hasn't made the playoffs the most. For the most number of years.
The longest drought.
Yeah,
I think.
Longest drought.
Yeah.
Just once, I'd love them to get something in Buffalo. Those fans, long-suffering fans.
I've got one last clip I'll show just because of the rarity of it. This is, I believe, in the Russian leagues, maybe the KHL, but this is the rarest of rare plays. So I'm going to do it without any volume because the play call is not in English, so
Hmm.
there's no way to understand it either way. But goalie gets the puck. Goalie sends it.
No, he scores!
Goalie goal!
Oh my god, that guy's gonna live. He's gonna get drinks served to him in bars for years after that.
That's one of the stranger goalie goals I've seen,
Well, they do this,
because if you
but
notice, it's not like one that's going behind the goal and then he gets time to set up and sends it down. It's like it bounces in front of him, one
yeah, he
tap,
just-
and then send it.
Beauty. Oh, so sweet.
Pretty good one.
Yeah, I like that.
I can't get it to pause though. There.
I
So
like if you go back to the. Can you go back to the beginning?
yeah,
I just love the lineups of the two teams. I love the four guys. across
four
the
guys
blue
hitting
line.
backwards against four
Yeah.
coming straight at you.
It's the first thing I saw that those guys are resolutely lined up on the blue line. Nice. Well done.
Yeah,
Ed.
kind of a weird formation. I mean, but
It
it
was.
forced a dump in, which is what
did.
created the crazy rebound off the glass, which went straight to the goalie. One touch of the puck and then send it. I mean, that's a different kind of goalie goal than we've seen, and
It is.
because typically it's they dump it, the goalie gets it behind the net or whatever, and then decides to just flop it all the way down the ice.
Indeed.
It's rare that you're playing it directly in front of the goal.
And I
But
have to say,
yeah,
he played it.
good
And I have
stuff.
to say, he did play it very deliberately. I mean, it wasn't just a slap at it. He took a really good,
Yep,
you know,
controlled
aiming
the
it. He didn't
controlled
think
the
that was
puck and then sent it.
Yeah, he played it extremely well. I mean, he obviously
Yeah.
just trying to clear it, but hey, shit happens. Good for him.
I think he was clearing with a shot though. So yeah, pretty cool.
No, good one. That was cool. Yeah. This is from the Red Wings Wild game. This is just a big hit. There's nothing more about it, nothing less about it than it's a big fucking hit. Ouch.
Oh.
And the reaction. There's no audio,
I mean,
by the way. There was no audio in this, by the way.
It played it at a weird speed when it first started, but it almost looks like.
We'll start again.
Yeah,
Oh, now his arm is a bit high, but
his arm is a little bit high. Either shoulder or elbow looked like it was
a
going.
good hit. Apparently, it was a good hit.
All right, because it looks like he's pushing that shoulder straight up into the chin.
Oh
But
yeah.
if he caught chest first, fine.
Still, it's against the Wild, so you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, that was that. Yeah, probably not a lot else tonight. I got a few. There was a few tear jerkers. There was the Johnny Goodrow son getting sung "Happy Birthday" to at the Blue Jackets. That was.
Why don't we play that to close out the show after we do the outros? We'll just do that instead of the usual intro, and you can just play that video as we close out.
It was a beautiful thing. There was another
Hi,
one
Keely.
which I'm not going to play. But it was Kerry Price, who is a wonderful human being. Kerry Price. Video of him spending some time with a kid whose mother died of cancer, and her last wish was that he should get to meet his hero. Kerry Price. And I'm telling you, I was crying watching it. It was like, oh my god, this hugging him. Kerry Price is a wonderful guy. I know people who know him. He's a great guy. So well done, Kerry Price, for what you did with this kid.
Well, what do you got?
Stuff.
What do you got coming up this week?
Probably tomorrow. I don't know. I might be on Midnight's Edge After Dark. I don't know. Who knows who knows the mystery of Tom Corners? But
True.
Monday on my channel, we are going to be going back to a subject that's dear to my heart, which is disaster movies. And we're going to be talking about the 1974 movie Earthquake, which was a movie that I saw in the cinema when I was a kid back in the day. I thought it was the greatest thing ever at the time. Then again, I saw The Towering Inferno like a month later, and I thought it was the greatest thing ever. Disaster movies are one of my things that I've always loved. So we're going to talk about Earthquake. That should be a fun show. It's going to be the earth will move for you if you come and watch that show. I trust me. So Earthquake is the subject. After that, the week will unfold as it does. How about you, my friend? Tomorrow morning, for instance.
In just less than 12 hours, we will be doing the bullpen. Little Chad is out of town for the next 2 weeks, so my co-host tomorrow will be Mad Cheesemo, Slender Dad, and the lovely Carrie Smith. We'll be talking about politics and Kash Patel getting in at FBI, how long it'll take for him to release the Epstein flight logs, and all the fun stuff. And there's been plenty that's been going on in politics. We'll probably also still talk a little bit about the hockey, because it has been kind of a political thing between the Canadians and the US. And then I will probably be on Culture's show tomorrow night, and then the usual week of stuff. So come check that out in the morning. I have my chat set to go over to Zach's. If you're still sticking around, it'll automatically transfer you over to his show, which I also have an invite for. So I may show up. It depends on what they're talking about and how long I want to stay up, since I do have a very early morning show.
Yeah, my streams will automatically head over to Zach's as well. Yeah. So.
All right. Do you have the video queued up for the Goudreau thing, so we can do that as an outro?
So good night, everybody. Thanks for being here. R.I.P. to Johnny and Goudreau and his brother. And this was a beautiful thing that happened at the Blue Jackets game tonight. We'll see you all next week.
Yep. Stick through this, and then it'll automatically divert you over to Zach's.
Hockey always wins.
Yep. Good stuff.